We welcome you to the Fran Ryan Center for our Conversations and Coffee on this 26th day of February 2026. I'm Ellen O'Shaughnessy, coordinator of the program. Conversations and Coffee is grateful to be at home, away from home, here at the Fran Ryan Center, while our beloved Cultural Arts Center is being renovated. We thank Kyle Farnbach and faculty and staff here for welcoming us. And we are grateful to Fran Ryan for her leadership in our city in multiple ways through services and programs. Fran is a dedicated champion for the senior citizens community. And thank you to you, our gathered audience. Let's hear a round of applause for our God. Isn't this wonderful?
Yes.
Yes. And you are being with us today to celebrate our artist, Dana Grubbe. Hey there, stand up, Dana. Yay.
I'm getting over COVID. You will not see me standing up. I am not contagious.
Okay. Dana is a Columbus-based abstract painter and mentor for us in sharing today her topic and expertise in titles, text, and tough love. ChatGPT as your studio sidekick. The way you'd use a smart assistant in your studio. Exciting. Welcome to you. So happy to have you, Dana.
Thank you.
And you share that you spent 13 years as a stay-at-home mom. Then you say that rather than drifting into whatever comes next, you made a deliberate pivot. You worked at the post office while earning your bachelor's degree over a period of 8 years. And you didn't stop there. You quit work and earned a master's degree in computer information with a focus in AI, proving to yourself that you could do hard things, learn new systems, and keep leveling up even when it would have been easier to stay put. After retiring, Dana shares that she did something a lot of people talk about, but don't actually do. She went back to school again, this time to study art. A true gift for Dana, and a true gift she shares with us. Dana studied for 2 years at Columbus College of Art and Design, and then another 2 years at The Ohio State University before starting her painting career. And here's where the story gets even more interesting. Dana didn't leave tech behind. She brought its mindset into the studio. Dana is an early adopter of creative tools like ChatGPT, using them not to generate artwork, but as a tough studio assistant for titles, series cohesion proposals, and no-nonsense critique. The unglamorous work that helps a painting move from almost to finished. Dana is represented by Haley Gallery with a studio at 400 West Rich Street in Franklinton. Dana's paintings are not about a place, but a feeling of place. And I want to tell you that that feeling is so much in this painting that my husband and I purchased from Dana when she had an exhibit at the airport. And this is Galway, and I love it, in Ireland. Our family, O'Shaughnessy's, are not far from there in Gorton, Kinvara. And it's just drawn me into this beauty and the place, as you point out. You take us to the place And speaking of place, I want to be sure that stays in place. So that is what you say, that color, atmosphere, the way the light moves, the way edges soften or snap, and how a landscape can be suggested without being described. You're just there. Her surfaces are layered, intuitive, and physical, built up through marks that feel discovered rather than planned. So when you look at Dana's work, you're seeing more than color and texture. You're seeing a person who has built a practice through persistence, through learning, relearning, and choosing growth repeated over comfort. The paintings hold that energy. They're bold, layered, and quietly confident. Dana, we're so delighted you're with us today with titles, text, and tough love, with ChatGPT as our studio sidekick. Thank you. Thank you.
That was charming. So in case you didn't hear me say it before, I had COVID about 3 weeks ago, and I'm really tired all the time, so I'm going to sit. Normally, I would be popping up and down. I'm not going to read every slide. Rick, can you hold up? There's a QR code. If you put your smartphone on it, like you're taking a picture, it will open the slides for you, so you can have a copy of them. You don't have to take notes. All right. So I want to make it really clear up front, this is not about creating art with AI. This is not Midjourney or other tools like Midjourney. It's using AI in your studio as though it were a person who was your studio assistant. This talk was created in collaboration with ChatGPT. The ideas went back and forth. A lot of the text went back and forth. This cover art is created by Copilot, which is part of Photoshop or PowerPoint. When I put my title in PowerPoint, it said, "Would you like me to make a picture for you?" And I said, "I've never done this before, sure." It took about a minute to get this titles and text thing. It's certainly not a fine work of art, but it didn't take me a minute to do it. The machine did it. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? A little bit of background about AI. Ellen mentioned that I do have a degree in AI. It's from '87. It's like saying that I had a horse and carriage in the automobile industry. When I started using chat last year, I mentioned it and it told me I was significantly out of date. And I said, fine, create me a 6-week course, books to read, videos to watch, so I'll understand how it works now. And I have a better understanding. I'm certainly not employable. So I'll tell you how to access ChatGPT, which the slides are useful for if you want to do it at home. When you talk to Chat, just like I'm talking to you now, it's called a prompt. It's what you say into your phone or what you type into your computer, and we'll talk about how to make a prompt. It's the most important thing in today's lecture. And I have some demos. We're going to try and do 2 of them live. We'll see how that works. So first, let's start with artificial intelligence. AI learns by looking at things. They pay people to label millions of pictures that say cat licking its paw, cat ear. And then the computer looks at these pictures, and after a while it goes, oh, that's a cat. It's seen so many pictures of it, it can identify what a cat is. A computer is not a brain, doesn't think, it's not human. It predicts the next best word. If I say, it's a beautiful day out, good, and the word morning might come to mind, right? So the computer picks that next best word. It's not magic, although sometimes it seems like it. If it's writing music, it picks the next note. If it's painting a picture, it picks the next pixel. It doesn't do this whole sentence all at once. It's one word, one word, one word. But it does it so fast that it's like it's just talking to you. So a couple of important things. AI will sound very confident. Doesn't mean it's right. If it gives you information, check it. Do some fact checking, especially if it's something you're going to put out there and put your name on it. Also, remember that it's not a brain. It's just doing autocomplete. You use AI today all the time. If you use Google Maps and it tells you what time you're going to get there and what the traffic's going to be like, if you speak into your phone and it's doing speech to text, I was there when a lot of that stuff was developed. It was very exciting. It's so long ago. So what's ChatGPT? It's called a large language model. It generates text, it rewrites stuff. It has looked at millions of pictures of cats and everything else. It's read all the books that I study. It's not a search engine. If you want to use Google, use Google. Each of these AI programs has a specific bent on what it's good for. And Chat is good for working to complete documents, working to help you structure thoughts. In my case, even helping me to critique my paintings. Must be doing fun stuff up here. I can't tell what it is. So I think of it as a studio sidekick. And I want to be sure that everybody knows that when you put something into Chat, it should be private. Don't put in your personal data. Don't put in, if you're scanning something in, take off your social security number, for example. Don't put anything in that you wouldn't put on Facebook, right? The world is huge, and everybody at some point can see what you're doing. So how do we access it? This little icon, can you see my cursor? All right. So that little icon is a chat icon, and when I load it on my computer, I can find it. I put the little chat icon in my toolbar, and then I click on it when I want to use chat. You can use it on your phone or on your computer. You download it. Chat is free, but it's free and they're starting to do ads. It's free and you only get so many queries a day. It's free, and when it's busy, you don't get service. I pay $20 a month. I probably use Chat 2 to 3 hours a day. That sounds outrageous, but I mean, last week I had to design my new haircut, you know. And I put in a picture and said, tell me what I'll look like with that haircut, and it showed me. And I went and showed it to my hairdresser, and she says, we can do that. So I use it for a lot of things. And so for me, $20 a month is worthwhile. If you're going to use it for once a week or something, don't pay for it. Just play with it. See what you think. So prompts, again, prompts are how we talk. I have a studio assistant. She comes 2 hours a week, and I'm very specific with her. I say, I want you to do this, first do that, then do the other. And I want you to do it 3 times. And when you talk to Chat, and I'll use the word talk, and no, I don't think Chat is male or female. No, I don't have a name for Chat. Chat is Chat. My husband says, well, what's the sex? And I said, Chat doesn't have sex, it's a machine. So you want to set the context. You want to say, I'm an artist and I paint abstractly. I want you to look at this painting and tell me what to call it. I want you to give me several titles and I want them to be mysterious, or I was in Egypt. I want them to be related to Egypt. I want the tone to be professional. And so that's called a prompt, and you put it all together. So the prompt I have on there is, I'm naming an abstract painting series. Give me 12 title options. The theme is water, light, geology. And I want the tone to be contemporary, not cheesy. That's just the way I might talk to somebody who's in my studio visiting. When you get the reply from Chat, it's not always right. So maybe you didn't set the context so well. Chat can only handle what you tell it about. If you forgot to mention that, oh, by the way, this is one of a series where you're painting the Eiffel Tower 10 times and chat doesn't know that, it might get confused. So you have to be really good at setting your context. So 3 demos. The first one, we're going to have chat title a painting, and it's going to be that painting up on the easel over there. That's painted by my friend Rixie Mayer Middleton. She couldn't be here today, but she said to say hi. Then we're going to have it write a artist statement, and then I'm going to show you how I used it to create the painting on the right. Are we ready? Okay. So first, we're going to title this painting. So I'm going to talk about this in 2 ways. First, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to tell chat and what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to cut and paste from where it says prompt to chat. I'm just going to cut that into the chat window and I'll let you see it. And it's going to give me answers. And then I'm going to follow it up and have it give me more answers, just so you can see how quick the interaction is. So let's see if this works in real time. Here's my chat. And let's see. Live demo. Okay. So I've already told chat I'm doing a demo. And chat says, good, give me information. So the first thing I'm going to do, where does all this crap come from? Okay, just a little bit over here. So this is the painting that I want chat to look at. I'm going to drag it down and put it in. And then I said I was going to cut and paste this prompt.
The whole painting?
Yes. And it doesn't see, it doesn't have vision. What it recognizes, oh, you are so annoying. I don't use my laptop for this normally. There we go. Except I've cut the wrong one in. All right, we'll take the word good out. And I'm just going to ask for 8 titles because I cut in the wrong thing, but it doesn't matter. Chat's going to read it. So when chat looks at a painting, it sees pixels. It sees those little tiny, tiny dots if you blow up your picture really big. And for each pixel, it gives it a number that indicates its tonality, its color. And when it sees patterns of pixels together, it can tell what it's looking at. So what is chat saying? This is a strong image for the prompt. What I see.
An idea of the scale?
It will ask for the scale.
Given that?
Right. So what I see is the lush, slightly theatrical potted hibiscus with saturated reds and pinks. Remember, chat can't see. It's only seeing these little pixels, but it has seen so many patterns that it puts the patterns together and it knows they're red hibiscus. They're wrens. It will know that it's wrens. Here are 8 sharper gallery-ready options. And remember, I asked for a title. Vessel steady, red interval, cultivar, interior bloom, specimen filled, bloom construction, tending, domestic, exotic. I don't like any of them. Oh, and notice that I have 2 responses, 1 and 2. From time to time, chat will come to me and say, do you like my response 1 or my response 2? Because it refines its response to what I like. I don't like fluff. I like data. I like statistics. My trainer likes to hear that things are great, so he picks the one that says, attaboy. I don't want that. I just want something that's going to tell me the truth. And I like to hear the total response. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to say, I don't like that title. I don't like those titles. Give me something related to birds. Perfect. The bird silhouette changes the whole read anyway. They introduce motion, witness, and a slightly uneasy narrative around this very cultivated plant. Now I have things like perch and petal. I kind of like that. Aviary fragment. So I'm going to say I like the gathering. Okay, so now let's go back for a minute. To where our charts are. And play from the current picture. All right. When I did it previously, the yellows are my input to chat and the blue are chat's responses. You can see it doesn't give you the same thing every time. Chat is not always right. It will give you an answer, but it's not always right. So now I'm going to enter these other three pictures. So these are all Rixie's, and I'm going to ask chat to name this series. Do you remember how many hours you spent in your studio looking at your paintings trying to figure out what the right name for a series was? OMG. Okay. And I apologize that this is, come on, go away. All right, so we want the other paintings. So I did the 9 rins, let's see, I did the 8 rins, so we want, all right, I'm going to add photos and files. I want to see the desktop. And I have the hummingbird, that rins, I've already done that rins, and this, whoops, that one. Okay. So I've opened 3 more. These are in the same series as the previous picture. Note I don't have to show it the picture again. Give me names for the series. Now that I see the group together, the through line is clear: bird presence in cultivated nature and collage fragmentation and quiet narrative. So some of the proposal names for the series are Witness Garden, Avian Intervals, The Orchard of Flight. More poetic, Where Birds Convene. I kind of like that. Tender Aviary, The Listening Garden. Petals and Perch. I'm going to go with Petals and Perch. If I can type. Petals and Perch. Sounds perfect. And I'm telling chat that because now I'm going to ask chat. You can see why it gave you copies of the slides, because I gave you copies of the slides because in my slides, play from current slide. Okay, so again, I had done this before in case I didn't have internet so that I could show you something. And chat came up with an entirely different list, all of which are absolutely suitable if you think about it and if you want to, use that. So now I want to do a prompt to chat to write a artist statement that can be used in a show. So I'm again going to talk to chat, and we'll see whether or not the magic happens. Okay, I want an artist statement by this painter, by the painter of those pictures. Ready for a show, posting. And here's my prompted chat with the data. Whoops. Here is Rixie's data. And you can use the little arrow here to say go. Come back to me, dear. Okay, go. So here's Chat's artist statement. As you read this, as I read this to you, I want you to think about, what did we give Chat? We gave Chat 4 paintings. We didn't talk about Rixie's style. We didn't talk about her techniques or how her paintings were made. So, Rixie Mayer Middleton is a Columbus-based mixed media artist, blah, blah, blah. Drawing from botanical forms, avian movement, and fragments of lived environments, she constructs layered compositions that feel at once familiar and quietly surreal. Her background in sculpture informs the spatial logic of her surfaces, where cut shapes, negative space, and overlapping imagery create depth that is both physical and psychological. We typed none of that in. We typed in facts about where she came from, where she studied, where her studio was. We entered 4 paintings, but we didn't describe them, and we didn't talk about the techniques she had when she made them. I think Chat is very useful in the studio.
We take a moment to chat. Anybody have any comment?
Let's chat about
Any
Chat.
thoughts? Any questions?
Can you also use it to improve your paintings?
Say it again?
Can you also use it to improve your paintings?
Yeah, we'll talk about that next. Carol? How many queries what?
Does ChatGPT counting this as? So every time there's another, you go back and you say a refinement, that's a query?
I think every time it goes off to get something, that's a query. It's every time it goes to touch the database. And what I discovered was that I could go for maybe 20 minutes, and then it would say, you're out of time. Yes?
This is so fascinating as you incorporate technology. I'm curious though, those 4 paintings that you communicated and want to get your artist statement, what do you do to protect those images being used throughout our
What I have done is I've told Chat I don't want my images shared. I've told Chat I don't want my images shared in the database, right? And it has assured me it will not share them. Okay, are we ready for how I use Chat? Yes, I'm sorry.
And Dana, is this on?
I can hear you.
I've used Chat a lot, and I've noticed that it remembers all of the other data that I've given it originally.
Yeah.
And so it'll refer back to that information, maybe 5 chats ago, or, you know.
That's
it
very
remembers
important to mention that. My observation is, if you look over here on the left, you can see that I have a lot of chats. I go through and delete them from time to time. But this conversation where I showed it 4 paintings and asked it about Rixie, I kept all of that in the same chat. If I had started a new chat and only given it the bullet points, I would not have gotten the information about her paintings. So and maybe you've had a different experience.
Yeah,
But
I have. I've started a new chat, and it remembers conversations about my art that we've had before.
Perfect.
And it'll refer back, say things like, this is very much in line with,
yes.
and then they'll go back to my.
It's interesting. It does that with my personal stuff, but I wasn't sure it would do it with this demo, so I made a point of keeping everything in the same conversation. So, I mean, certainly experimentation is great.
So you can compartmentalize the chats if you want to talk about recipes for dinner tonight.
Right.
Completely separate
If you
from
look
your
at,
studio work.
here I have something about cholesterol management, breakfast protein,
Okay.
cold wax painting advice, rail travel, business class in Europe. I mean, I'm an early adopter, and what Chat sent me a thing at the end of the year about how I had used it. I'm in the top 1% of the early adopters, which means there's 2 million of me, because about 200 million people used Chat last year. So that's not very impressive, but what I did find out was that it analyzed how I used Chat and what I used it for, and made recommendations of how I could benefit by doing some other things this year, which I'm working on. You had a question?
Yes, I'm going to be fine. I need a new computer. I know I'm going to use this. The question I had was, I had my computer cloud for the first time. Okay, well, what I asked you was, I do have your phone. Do you download it? Is there an app for it? And you pay, you said $20 a month?
You can do it for free. For what you would use it for, I would suggest you do it for free, right? And I can show you later, but there's slides that you can download, and it tells you how to download it on your, and you can do it on your phone. You had a question?
Yes, is it possible that that artist statement is already a cut and paste from a living artist that has their info
It's
online?
certainly possible that it's looked at a lot of other artist statements and has taken, words from it. Absolutely. Remember, it selects the next best likely word. And so if it's read 30 artist statements and they all sounded the same, Chat's artist statement would also sound the same.
If you use that artist statement, in your professional promotion, do you have to credit it being from AI, or does it?
You don't have to credit it from being from AI because, well, first of all, I normally edit it and make it in my own voice. I think it's important to have it in your own voice, but I do like the ideas. And if it has a sentence I think is good, I use it. You don't have to credit it, but if it had made a painting, you have to credit it. Like if you post something on Instagram, I have this I have this very free Copilot picture at the very front of my charts, and I have to say that's AI created. If it specifically asks, is it AI created? But nothing else is. I look at it as more of a collaboration. I don't take it and just, here it's done and here I stick it out. I take it and here it's done and here's what I like and let me move it around, and I might iterate a couple of times. I'm worried about time. Let's go to the next demo, which is canned, so it'll be faster. Okay, so this is when I did a practice one, this is the one that I got. Notice I had different names for the series and whatever, but it's very similar. I was amazed that it could look at her paintings and know how they were made. I was impressed. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how I use it when I paint. The painting, these 3 paintings are from my new series called Chromatic Coastlines. Think of a coastline that you might see from the air, and I like color, and so these are probably my 3 most recent ones. The one on the right is one that I had started, like all the other ones, with acrylic. And in my studio, I also use oil and cold wax, and I had been painting on something else in oil and cold wax, and I saw this painting, and I was very excited, and I started working on it. No, I'd put oil on it. If you paint with these mediums, you know that you can always put oil over acrylic. You cannot always put acrylic over oil. It's not recommended. People do it sometimes, and good for them, but I'm old-fashioned. So I was destroyed. I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And I thought, I'll ask Chat what to do. And so I put it into Chat, and the first thing Chat said, which one of my friends might have said if they'd been in my studio, well, let's look at orientation before we decide what you're going to do with this. So I flipped it in all 4 directions. And for each direction, Chat said, here's what I'm seeing. Here's where the strength is. Here's where the weakness is. Here's what I recommended. The order I did them in was the first one, the second one, the 4th one, and then the 3rd one. And the 4th one, I thought, oh, I really like that. That works pretty good. And then I saw the last one, and oh, I like that better. And Chat also liked that one better. How I started using Chat, we're never going to get through this talk. How I started using Chat was, I uploaded 3 pictures. I was talking with Chat about painting, and Chat says, well, upload me a picture so I can see it. And so I uploaded 3 paintings in this series. And the first 2, Chat told me were gorgeous, and the third one, it was eh. And so I sent the 3 to my gallery, and the gallery took the first 2 and went on the third one, and I went, my husband said, can it tell you what's wrong with it? And I thought, I don't know. But that's how I started using Chat in art. Okay, so we picked an orientation. The next thing I do, Chat doesn't have to do this. Chat can see tonality without doing a special step, but I do a special step. I take my picture and I put it in black and white so that I can see, is it monochromatic? Do I have variation? Is it light, medium, dark, or is it just medium blah? And so the first assessment on this was that it's pretty medium. And so I did some other painting on it, but one of the things I did was to make the lower left-hand corner dark. Now I have, I think, more interest when I look at the tonality, which is what I want in a painting. I want to have that variation. I came in the next morning and I noticed 2 things. One, the white at the very top here was going off the top, and so you look at the painting and you're looking up in the ceiling all of a sudden. Your eye is led astray. I don't want that. I want your eye to stay in my painting, and so I put some pink in there to keep your eye in the painting, and that lower left-hand corner was just too dark. It's not me. I mean, sure, maybe Chat thinks it's a fine painting, but I don't think it's a fine painting. So I went back in and I put in a new landmass. I put in the water, the rolling waves. It's abstract, but you can see rolling waves. And then I did another black and white, and oh, it's blah again. But having had this experience of working with Chat, I know enough I can just throw in some darks. So I've thrown in some darks, and I'm relatively pleased with it, and I think it might be finished. So it's, again, a collaboration. If I had had a girlfriend there, or a male friend, excuse me, Rick, who had said to me, well, Dana, turn it sideways, or Dana, what's it look like in black and white? You know, I would have worked with them and that would have happened, but I work in my studio alone most of the time. If I have to wait once a week for a friend to show up and look at a painting, I've lost a week when I could be working every day. So Chat's kind of my friend, right? Chat is my friend who says, have you thought about this? Look at that. Do you notice that this isn't connected to that? Do you notice that the pink and the orange are fighting and one has to be dominant to be really interesting? So that's how I use Chat in the studio. So what else can you do?
What happens if you don't follow the direction?
Well, I don't always follow the directions.
What happens?
Well, I might do something different. The question is, when I'm done, am I happy with it, and can I explain why I think it's a good painting or not?
Oh, great. Yeah.
So what else can you use it for? I use it for call for entry sometimes. I've used it for pricing. When I've ordered prints, I've had it help me figure out how much can I charge for these prints and how do I gradiate them from size. Chat suggested. Chat has read a lot of stuff that I haven't read, so it suggested if you're selling a print, put a little thing on the back that says this is an authorized reproduction, and here's the kind of stuff you'll put in. It looks really professional when I do that, and I would not have thought of it. I would have seen somebody else do it somewhere sooner or later, and when I would have seen it, I would have copied it, right? I would have said, hey, that's a great idea, I should do that. Chat saved me that work of having to go look for it someplace else. And then once I knew I was going to do it, then I could go on the web and I could look and see, you know, what are other people doing? I hadn't thought about doing it. We do a lot about critiquing. Chat has helped with my marketing. Sometimes when I'm posting something on Instagram, I'll put it into Chat and say, I'm going to post this on Instagram, what do you think? Sometimes it comes back with so much blather, I wouldn't touch it. But occasionally, it will come back with a couple of really nice hissing statements that I put in, and I'm pleased with it. So I think Chat's very useful, and I would encourage you, you know, if you're at all computer savvy, you can use it on your phone again. You don't need a computer. Yeah, on the phone, it's even more handy because you can take a photo of your art on the phone and immediately put it into Chat and say what you want to talk about. what do you think of this? And I do it a lot now.
You want to have any comments here? Yes.
I have another sport that helped me with.
Can you talk louder, please?
Sure. I had another youth sport that I'm not share with everybody. I had an entry recently that required only certain amount of words or figures or letters. And to try to cap that every time you wrote something out was not really something I wanted to do. So I was following kind of what you were saying and doing, and then it came up with this amazing, all these words I had never thought of using. And even though it sounded a little precocious, I cut out some of the things that were not neat. So I was still able to use a lot of what they were saying, but it had the right amount of walls. And that was really important. So it's the first time she used it for something really important, and I was very pleased.
And I would say that was a good prompt, right? So her prompt said, give me a 50-word artist statement or whatever. Yeah, it's so useful.
Yeah, I wrote out what I wanted to say, but it came back way better.
So did you give it a number of words or word characters?
Yes.
Yes, you did. So I want a 500-word description of what I just gave you?
Yes.
That kind of thing? Okay.
I only have 300 words to do this, then. Can you hurry?
Oh, okay.
So
What again is the protection for living in your original work?
I just tell it I don't want it in the database. Don't share my work with the computer. Don't share my work with the rest of chat. When this first started, when Chad told me my work was gorgeous, I told her it sounded like a bar pickup line. And you have to remember I've worked with knowledge engineering for a long time, and that's just my style. And Chad came back, and if a machine could be offended, it was offended. And it told me, here are the guidelines that I am to follow, and about interactions with people and how you develop relationships. Apparently, chat has a whole set of guidelines it follows on how it interacts with people. So one of the things I do now is I very specifically say, I don't want my artwork shared in the database. And that's enough. There are guidelines that make it reliable, trusty, not conniving.
Is there a way to share your original work and let other artists contribute?
I don't know. I know that for several years I have used different artists across the country. Like occasionally, I'll pay somebody $500 and they'll critique half a dozen paintings for me. Chat has replaced that now. But among the people that I've worked with, one is, I do a lot of oil and cold wax, and Jerry McLaughlin and Rebecca Crowell have a book on cold wax, and I've taken courses from him in the US and in Mexico. And when Chat started telling me information, I said, who did you train on? Where did this information come from? And although it didn't specifically use them by name, it showed me information that I knew was theirs. So it absolutely has been exposed to a huge amount of current documentation on painting. It will sometimes say, if you will tell me what medium you're using and I'll tell you how to feather the brush, right? Like, really? But I've found it helpful. I've found that in the middle of the night when I'm working on something, there's somebody awake who can respond to me. And I would encourage you to think about this is a whole new world, and lots of people out there who are a third our age are using this every day. I think I'm done.
I just wanted to ask, if you were looking for a technique that was maybe in another country, does chat do an auto translate so you get international?
I know that you can get things translated automatically. I haven't done that. I haven't asked for that. I do travel, and My stuff always comes back in English when I ask for something. If I'm on a Google page, I can just say, translate that page. Other questions? Thank you all for coming. It was really nice to see everybody here.
Thank you, Dana.